Hey guys, Tisha here, and we are back for another Basketball Wives of Orlando review. I am not feeling Morgan at all. I don't like how she treated Danny in this episode, but we're just gonna get to that towards the end. I'm gonna try to go person by person with a little combination here and there because this was all over the place, but y'all will get it. So we begin with Megan, who wants to do a session to get rid of all this negative energy that she has. We see them perform Reiki on her. I need to see her do more than an energy cleanse because I think that some things require more, like therapy. She said that she wants a relationship with her mother, but she feels like she's realizing more and more that it needs to be a two-way street. After the Reiki session, we later see Megan talking about how she wants to plan this family with Dre. She's taking her blood, she's putting it on a test strip, and she shows Dre over the phone via FaceTime that she did a fertility test to send it into a clinic to see how fertile she is. And he's like, why didn't you just make a doctor's appointment? She said, well, they don't have anything anytime soon. And apparently she's wondering if she's able to get pregnant because he hasn't been using protection and he has not been using the withdrawal method. He's been staying in there. And I just feel like the fact that they're trying so hard to have a child is weird because even if her name is tattooed on him, there isn't a long-term commitment here. I'm not saying just because you get engaged and married and have a baby that the person is guaranteed to stay with you, but I just don't see what stability is being offered when at this point, didn't she tell us she's only been with him for a year? I don't know. Anyways, we then have Neek. We see Neek out bowling with her mother and her mother's, I think it's her mom's fiance. They said girlfriend, but I thought her mother was engaged. Anyway, her mother's partner, and her son. She's letting her mom know that her and Mulan are in a better place, and they talked about things, and her mom said it's okay to feel how you felt about the situation, but I'm glad that you all have communicated and y'all have moved past it. She then tells Janae and her mom that Anthony, who is her biological father, has been reaching out. Her mom says that, she tried to keep him in her life, but he was just absent. Some of that may be because of how many children he had. But she does feel like it would be a good idea for Neek to meet up with him because she says that the connection with a father and his daughter may be different, and she feels like that is something that Neek deserves. Neek talks about how after all this time, she's just curious to meet him and hear him out. We later see Neek meet up with him over food. She said that she doesn't hold grudges, but she struggles with understanding how and why he wasn't there. He said that after his incarceration, by the time he got out, her mother had moved on and he felt like he couldn't come back. He devoted a lot of his life to the streets and he really didn't know how to be a father. But at the age of 50, he no longer is desiring the streets and he's trying to reunite with all his kids one by one, despite some not being willing to. Neek says, we can take it day by day, see how it works, shows pictures of her son. He doesn't even know her son's name because he keeps saying it wrong. His son's name is Kaiser, and I think he called him Kalen at one point. But they're going to try to take things day by day. Later on, we finally see her handsome boyfriend, who I think recently they just broke up. Y'all, I get too invested in some of these couples that I've never met in life, where to the point where I used to watch Neek's channel all the time, and I just like, oh, I'm so sad. But anyway, we finally get to see Neek's boyfriend Dwayne on camera, and she tells him about meeting up with her dad, and he's like, the fact that he had 12 kids and he's just now trying to come around after all this time, I just want you to make sure that it's for the right reasons. He said, you're well established now. You've done a good job for yourself. You built this platform. So just make sure that you watch out and that is genuine. He tells her the best thing, which is to pray about it and just, hope for the best. Let his actions speak louder than his words. And we see them kiss. That's the end of that. We then have Danielle, who we see heading to an open gym for a workout to test out some of her skills. She's nervous because of everything that's going on with her ex, as long as some of the things that are going on with her friendships like Morgan. She says when she's feeling like this, she tends to take it out on the wrong things and her mind ends up not being in the game, and she doesn't want this to mess up her game, which it seems that's exactly what it does, because she misses several easy shots and she's not having a win here. She loses. We then have Ashley. Ashley is doing yet another event. This one is a self-care. Ashley has really been smart in utilizing this platform to promote her brand, but I'm tired of Ashley in all these events, especially since it just seems like something that she throws together to say that she did it. Like, okay, I know I got to film. Maybe I'm going to reach out to all these vendors because they'll come and I could tell them that VH1 is going to show their businesses and they could come. But I'm over Ashley and her events because Ashley has had a lot of events. Not to say that they aren't for good causes, but it's just, I'm over it. So all the ladies are actually in attendance to this, including Morgan, who arrives and gives Danny a really awkward greeting. Morgan lets us know that she is bothered by the fact that Danny has been going to Ashley's events, like she herself isn't here for an Ashley event. So, even though she's been reading the text that Danny has sent her, seeing something that Danny really needed to talk to her about something important, she chose not to respond because she was frustrated with her for attending the events of Ashley's. And I just feel like it's so childish. She thought that her and Danny shared a mutual dislike for Ashley. Danny took on Morgan's beef. Danny was trying to protect Morgan, and really, Danny didn't have a real reason to dislike Ashley other than normal casual things. But the disdain that she had for Ashley, a lot of it came because of what Morgan experienced, not because of what Danny experienced. We have Nikki then walking up to Megan and reminding her that she's supposed to talk to Ashley about what she heard. I'm like, okay, so we're going to do this right now at this event. This isn't right, but this is what they do. So they approach Ashley, they make small talk, and Ashley can tell that something is bothering them because of how they're standing there. So she says, Megan, are you all right? And Megan says, during my podcast, one of my friends that was behind you, she said that you were saying a whole bunch of negative things about the entire event. I don't like the fact that you called my event disgusting. So she said, my issue, Ashley, is that a lot of what was being shared wasn't right, especially since Nikki had to hear her ex saying all these things. She said, but you said my podcast is disgusting. Meanwhile, I heard your house turns into a brothel on weekends. Now, Ashley admitted to saying that what he was talking about was disgusting, but she said she did not say that her podcast was disgusting. So she was like, who told you that? Who told you about my house being a brothel? And she wouldn't say who said it. So she said, how could it be a brothel if it's my husband, my kids, and my nanny? She said, you're sitting here saying something about me saying that, what was being said was disgusting when everyone in our circle felt the same way. And then she walks off. We then see Ashley thank everybody for coming. And then we get a message saying that after filming, Danny tried to approach Morgan and ask her what's wrong. And she says, I'm going through a lot of stuff right now. And she was like, well, I've been trying to reach out to you. And she was like, well, we'll talk about it another day. So insensitive. So Morgan just, I liked her for the first episode. I can't remember if I liked her for the second, but it very quickly went downhill for me because I saw Morgan for what Morgan is. Morgan then meets up with Nikki and Megan for dinner. Morgan tells Danny, they talk about the whole brothel thing, and we find out that Morgan told Danny, who told Megan, and Morgan originally heard it from Mulan that Ashley had the brothel at her house. So Mulan started it and Megan finished it. Morgan said that she does believe that Mulan, when she says that's because that's what Ashley does. She moves these players around these different women. Morgan doesn't understand why Danny would be upset with her for not answering her phone calls and texts. That's because she's going through stuff and she would be there for you, so she would expect for you to be there for her. That's not that hard to understand. Megan says Danny wears her heart on her sleeve, so it probably just hurt her feelings, and I think that you guys should talk. And Morgan claims it's nothing personal right now, that she just has to handle some things by herself, but we know that she's lying because Morgan already told us that she's mad that Danny was going to these events. So we later see Morgan and Danny meet up. She talks about how Danny has been her confidant and how it's bothered her that she's been going to Ashley's events. She says she pulled back from her for her own mental health. And I feel like that's bull. People are so quick to talk about stuff being mental health. This is a pride thing. You didn't want that girl to be cool with her. And as a result, because you assumed that she was being cool with her, you pulled back and you're treating her like crap. Danny says that her avoidance that Morgan has displayed towards her is shocking and disappointed. That was her ride or die. She always stood beside her and she felt like Morgan had her back too. And she just doesn't understand what's going on now. So she sits down. Morgan starts off by saying, I saw you at the last event and the way you came at me, I wasn't expecting it. I don't think her asking why you haven't spoken to her is her coming at you. I think she was trying to get clarification. So as she's talking, Danny starts to cry. And Morgan, with that same cold stare that she always gives her, she's like, that's how she's looking at the girl while she's crying. And she's saying, I've been trying to tell you what's been going on and you ignored me. Is there an issue that I went to the autism event? And Morgan's like, yeah, I feel like you keep supporting her for all her events and you shouldn't be around her. I don't understand why you would even attend her events. And Danny's like, the event wasn't about you. The event was about children who have autism, and I wanted to support those things. I was at the event. I wasn't hanging out with her. I was off to the side doing my thing. So she's like, you went to an event for her too? She's like, yeah, well, I went to this event because I wanted to peep things. I wanted to see, you know, what was going on. Basically, like trying to act like she wanted to see the interaction with Ashley and Danny. And she's like, why would you go? So you don't have time to answer phone calls, but you have time to scope out what's going on with social media, to ask her why she would go to an event for children. She said the event was about the autistic children. Then she starts talking about how she thought that she could trust Danny and all these other things. And Danny's like, you can't trust me. I've never spoken about you or your kid's case. I haven't told these girls anything. I'm only cool with you. You know, everybody else, it's not like that. What you and I have is different. And she's over here going, and Morgan is getting an attitude with her because she's telling Morgan, like, look, it's not what you think it is. But here's the whole thing, because I'm done with this. Basically, that's the gist of the episode. The crazy thing about all of this is she said that she's been to all of these events of Ashley's. At this point, it's two events. I don't count the wig event as an Ashley event because I think that was a Nikki and Ashley event. Either way, she's been to a couple events, one of which you're at yourself. So what do you want from the girl? She owes you nothing. She stood up for Morgan on so many different occasions, and I think that Morgan is just a mean-spirited person. And I hate what's going on with her children, but I'm starting to see that Morgan is difficult for no reason. And if you don't do everything that Morgan wants you to do, then it appears that she ices you out. You all let me know what you think down below. Please like and comment. And until next time.